Finally, we're in. We're going to speed run the ban phase once again, and hopefully start to see Chalet come into play. I mean, look, are we going to see basement? That's my big question. Do we see these teams experiment with the basement defense?
I reckon so, but it's dangerous, isn't it? You know, that external wall, it can be opened so quickly. 9 times out of 10, you've already got that immediate angle, that immediate pressure into sight if you are choosing to go there. Especially, you know, we have the Thatcher bans, but there's still, as I said before, those secondary EMPs. Worst case scenario as well, you can just roll the nade through the drone hole. That wall's getting open 9 times out of 10. So again, it really depends on how brave Champion are feeling. At the same time, you know, maybe VRX, they might have a different approach to taking basement. A lot of people don't really like to go the garage wall way because they just feel maybe, I don't know if they think it's too easy, or maybe they then have to adjust, okay, where's our second dimension coming from? The wine pressure is an important aspect too. Really, it's going to come down to what Champion feel comfortable to do and where they're applying this pressure on their own defenses, how much of an extension they're giving, and given the fact that, you know, garage, you have to pretty much stay clear of it, remember?
Yeah, look, it is not really a comfortable site to defend at the moment. Teams experiment with it, but it's not something that you're heavily relying on. Usually you're going to the bar games. That's your primary site for the majority of teams. We are going to be starting up in the office and master bedroom, so everything that I've said is just completely nonsense because that's not what Champion want to do ultimately. But you look at the lineup, they've got so much information. You got a Valkyrie on top of that. You got the bulletproof cam from Zashav. They've also then got the Azab. Literally, you've got every base covered minus that utility burn, and I suppose Aruna even still covers that a little bit where the Jaeger and Memoir are missing.
Yeah, but again, it's this aspect of where's that shield going to go and how well defended is it going to be. I presume the shield would be around Piano, but there's not going to be any ADSs to defend it. Granted, you know, you do have the Saria gate, but at the same time, is that enough? Easily burnt out by the Iana, and at that point, the nade just needs to be cooked. Well, okay, never mind, the Iana's going to be yeeted and deleted from the server, because Farlord already a beautiful little spawn peak going in their favor.
That's what Farlord does. He likes to find these cheeky picks, and he's going to get away with it too for the most. I mean, look, he's low on health, but again, Rainbow6, headshots, difference makers. He can still find some impact in the rest of this round. He's not completely locked out and stuck on cams like Porzest is currently. And so far, I mean, look, it's again, Champion want to unsettle VRX as much as possible, given that this map, and more often than not, attacker-sided. If you can make it uncomfortable for them, make them hesitant to even approach the bomb site, that's a win in the defender's book.
I feel like as well, you know, the keeper barriers will not be able to be utilized still, but oh well, there we go. Ram's actually taking on Zoshav as well. So already gaining that player advantage. And again, no more Kiba barriers for Champion to use, so that's going to be a little bit difficult if they want to plug up some of these collapses. Again, the util for that collapse, you do still have the Toxic Babes, you do still have a C4. Wondering how much breathing space Libby will be allowed here. Again, a C4 in hand, that could cause a bit of a ruckus if that timer ticks on.
Labyrinth has done some crazy stuff in the past, so even with that breathing room, I mean, it's just the unknown factor, I suppose. You know that your opponent has 3 players alive. And if you can't find one of them, that presents a real troubling prospect. And right now, you see Farlord again, still looking to contest. Rams hunting for that information. Strike is absolutely going to slam Labyrinth, so no Nitro Cell, no Valkyrie shenanigans to come through whatsoever. They even drop down the Logic Bomb as well, and they're going hunting. Roldini's trying to deny with the Toxic Canisters, has 2 left, but that's not enough to cover the time remaining in the round, and Rams is not done. He's hunted down 2 players. He's hunting for more. Can he spot the pixel? That's all he needs. Just the opening. Peter is on for the plant. He's got the coverage too from below. Big shots on, but Ram steals it away. That's a 3rd for him in the round. He's looking for the 4th. Can't find it. Roldini from the back. Luckily, Killer hits the 180. It will shut him down as well. And Grace, the start to the map, not going the way I think Champion imagined.
No, again, I think Champion needed just a little bit more utility. Given how that ban phase goes, when it really indicated, you know, loads of sweaty setups, the ADSs, the magnets to protect some really fundamental points of utility. But that didn't really happen, you know. Essentially, as soon as those keeper barriers were taken away, as soon as that Azami fell, it's like, okay, well, we've got nothing else now to plug you from taking all of this control and just coming stampeding towards us. Piano, there was no fight whatsoever. Usually that's where most teams on that attack really struggle, and they just sailed through like it was nothing.
Yeah. And this time around, I think Champion making the adjustment that they should. Labyrinth off the Valkyrie onto a Solus. They're hunting for those drones. It was an information game. Rams played off the information so very, very well. Found 3 kills for his troubles. So now that Labyrinth has identified that, he's hunting for them already. They've wow, okay. That's huge. There are 2 drones now remaining as we head into the action phase. 1. No. Look, it's a bit confusing. Okay, 1. 2. There we go. Final number 2.
Again, though, once again, bringing that Dokkaebi, having those secondary MPs, a lot of soft destructibility as well, double sets of nades. I think VRX have the right things here. Again, will they be able to get these kills under their belt, though? I think it's certainly if these opening engagements going in their favor, if they can clear this space around Library, maybe rotate someone there for the up nade, that's going to really start to apply that pressure onto Champion. The Champion themselves, they need to not get caught off guard here. They need to maybe play a little bit safer, play for these trades a little bit more. So I do like that we are starting to see Zoshav and Seralok decide to play together here in the top of fireplace.
Mezzanine player looking to hold fast, but it's Firelord once again. Taking strike out, that's his sledge. Again, those nades that you were talking about, which could have been so heavily prioritised here, not going to be a factor. Now Rams going for a lurk of his own down through the basement. If he can find the cutoff, potentially might upset his road play from Champion. Player spotted, but the shot's going wide, and Firelord turns, hits the Uda reverse card and says no. We don't have today, and that's Killers down as well, so no more Dokkaebi's this. Can he find the cutoff? No, it's going to be Rams instead.
There we go, Oryx Util, and as I say, not really any for the team to get out of that. However, they do still have the Solus, they do still have the smoke. I'm wondering if Roldini and Labyrinth decide to go down to that bottom floor now, almost bait for that plant again. It really relies on the rest of your team delaying that pressure upstairs for as long as possible. You can try and play just to deny, just to burn out that timer. Oof being the main thing indeed. These bullets going on both ways, but no blood being spilt.
I mean, the wild thing is, Grace, you look at it, a minute on the clock, there are currently 2 drones for which VRX to use to utilise information, those in the pockets of Rams and Zis respectively. Peter, who would be the player that you want on the drones as the hard support, unfortunately has none to his name, so a little bit limited in what information they can find. And this is the power of that Solus that they brought into this round. Champion knew that the drones were their downfall ultimately, that information freely given over to VRX, and they deal with it in kind. They're in a great spot right now.
Ooh, gorgeous pick there again, and just getting rid of Zisvel on the entry point. Rams falls too. Peter left in a 1 versus 4. I don't think this is going to happen. 30 seconds or so to go. Again, not really the most ideal utility to work with, especially when, again, these keeper barriers, they've regenerated. There's 2 in pocket for Solotic to use. They can just plug it up. Looks like they're getting a bit hyper-aggressive here, though. Rodini looking to use that SMG-11, taking Peter's head clean off. Oh, a bit of a whiff there, though. Peter is going to collect himself a nice little freebie. That's at least 1 dealt with, though, Blue Panda.
And 1 more freebie? No, not to be. Labyrinth's not going to make the same mistakes as Roldini. Has the gun up, ready to go. Okay, no, he didn't quite. It's a bit much of a muchness. He gets the kill. It was going to be the same result regardless of how that played out, unfortunately. But Champion, I mean, the adjust was exactly what they needed.
I think this is it though again, like I really, if you've got that, you know, ground floor control, these nades coming through, get that information, okay, where are these players lurking, what positions are they holding, can we collect ourselves a few freebies without having to risk peek them, you know, you don't have to peek players if you have that soft floor underneath them and you have nades in your pocket. I'm not entirely sure they had the right angle there to actually take that push-up solar stairs.
I mean, that's it, of course. By the time it came to the crunch end of things, they just didn't have the tools remaining, the utility, the lives And unfortunately, yeah, look, Champion played that well. And I think this is, again, why Champion are considered the better of these two teams. They just have found that little bit more success in the competitions that they've played. But as we head into the third, you look at the setup, we're back to bar game, Grace.
But again, one of my actually more favourite sites for this map. I really love it. Again, so much importance around the setup that you're going to have upstairs, especially around the library. You know, often people will tuck themselves into that southwestern corner. It's a tale as old as time nowadays. Very difficult, you know, that double window pressure that the attackers will have to bring. If they don't have the right util in pocket to clear some of these players, who most likely are going to be, there we go, hiding behind these keeper barriers. Again, since Azami's been brought to the table, these library holds have just gotten sweatier and sweatier. Of course, we've got the classic shield setup as well by Zoshav at the top of the staircase there. I'm curious actually to see how Variant will approach this. Will they go from the bedroom side? Will they take that solar control first and trickle towards the top of upper fireplace? It looks like maybe a bit of a split push. Beautiful stuff there.
Yeah, look, the opening picks are just not going VRX's way at the moment. And look, I respect the ambition of this hard press attack. They've brought the Blitz as well as the Armor and the Dockerby. Unfortunately, one of those three factors is well gone. The Armor, which, I mean, Armor is such a great pick. It's so underutilized. Luckily, the MK14 EBR is utilized to perfection. Leverance is traded back almost immediately.
We love that 1v1. Ooh, another trade coming through. Farlord collects himself 1-2. So there we go. 3 versus 2. Toxic Babes going out. Peter is going to take a significant amount of damage. But look at this strike on the Blitz. Not really focusing on getting this plan down. They just want to get the kills. They want to clear this top floor. There we go. Pistol whip to the face. Strike takes on Farlord as well. A little bit chaotic. Poor Zoshav trying to fend off this Blitz. But there we have it. Strikes down. And comes out on top. Goodness me.
How in the world? The guy had 2 players on him. Flashes the smoke, the Azami comes around the corner. Let's see, watch this. So full flash to the face, has the shield knocked aside, the keeper barricade saves him, coming around the corner, the melee attempt. Exotic tried to bash the shield aside. Somehow Strike wins the gunfight, reloads. It was all Solotic's fault. If not for that keeper barricade, I don't think Strike wins that.
Locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
And that's the slightly unfortunate aspect sometimes with setups, is that yes, it works for you when you have those positions and you have those controls. When the attack are nicely stuck into your face, they're going to use your setup against you. We see this Tails all this time, really. We see it, you know, aggressive line of sight angles that can be held. They work both ways. The keeper barriers too, they work both ways also. Brava. I'm wondering if we're actually going to see Brava be selected here. I'll be honest, Blue Panda, I haven't really seen much good use out of her yet. Like, actions, to be honest. I think I understand the thinking process. Okay, you know, we can maybe deal with these mute jammers, we can deal with these surrogates. But I just think, but I haven't seen anything groundbreaking from that utility yet.
No, neither, unfortunately, and it is a little bit disappointing. But look, to this high-level comp environment, there's only so much you can get away with on any given day. Look, yeah, you could pull off the mute rushes, the blitz rushes, you got all that. But when it comes to utilizing and turning your opponent's utility against you, it's just that little bit harder. You're actively, as a defender, hunting drones. You are trying to destroy as many drones as possible. And when that way that your opponent's drones utility is through a drone, it kind of makes it just that little bit harder to get away with it unscathed. I think the best success we've seen out of a Brava drone has been in those, you know, the ranked compilations and the casual compilations. Now there's some shenanigans that happen after a Brava respect. Unfortunately, it's not something you're going to be able to get one over on when it comes to comp players.
No, because again, you consider comp, it's way more reliant on things like shields, things like ADS and Gamsel. Granted, you can maybe have a little bit of a hack of those ADSs and use them for yourself. Again, make sure that your nades aren't going to get caught by them. But I haven't seen too much breathing work, too much good effort from them yet, I guess.
I mean, in saying that is a kill cam that I 100% want to see. A stolen rear gate being run into by a defender on low health and just losing, not understanding why. Unfortunately, yeah, look, it's one of those things that probably is less than likely on the scale of possibilities. Right now, Rams is going to work once again. Peter below, they're trying to get this wall opened up so they can press on it. The sights of shut is there. I mean, like, again, they've got the positioning, they've got the tools. They just need to put them to work and get it to the side. Unfortunately, Firelord on the roam, on that vigil, has gone to work and taken out one of the key players on this very next roster.
Yeah, they fully decided to remove themselves from that fight going forward. That's going to give, again, VRX all the breathing room now for this extra permit. Ooh, the C4 getting prepped, though. Doesn't quite catch anyone off guard, though. Again, the wall is now open. That pressure can start to be mounted. There's not really too much bother coming through from those players. They just maybe can go for a bit of a smoke and a cheese plant here.
I mean, the thing is, oh, that was it. If so Sharp had found Peter and isolated the bomb, that would have been huge. But the ADSs are denying the plays for the smoke, and both of them picked up. That's huge. Roldini will find the kill on a strike. They're pushing in, but the health bars are starting to dwindle here for Champion. The plant attempt is down. Zist there on the cover. Zolotic gets the shots off. Zist, what are you doing? Where's the cover? Your teammate's just fallen, and the plant didn't go down. A huge mistake out of VRX. Killer's trying to recover what he can, but it's too little too late, Grace. They've completely whiffed the play here. This should have been a plant successfully, but instead it goes the way of Champion.
Exactly, like you put it perfectly. You know, those crossfires weren't there, and that maybe is down to the fact that maybe they have, you know, the information as well to see that Aruni push up. There's always that, of course. But if you're holding those crossfires, they should have walked nicely into your line of sight. A slight miscalculation there. Again, maybe the 3-2-1 wasn't exactly on point, so people couldn't get into position on time. But that is a crucial thing that you need to make sure you get absolutely on point.
Yeah, I mean, crossfires can make or break a situation, especially when you're trying to go for a plant attempt. I mean, the fact that Zest was in the door, not only that, but Zolotic was elevated on the planter inside of Dining. Like, that should not have been an angle that was missed. Whether he was caught on the reload, whatever the case may be, ultimately, I think that Zolotic was able to get away with it, cost them the round. So, unfortunately, a misplay there, resulting in a round go out the way of Champion. But we head down into the fifth. We're all tied up. Realistically, this is phenomenal from Champion on a map like Chalet for them to be tied up with VRX.
I mean, I think so to an extent. I think VRX are maybe a bit more comfortable on it than Champion are. I think in terms of, you know, how they're banning these maps out, I think they're very neck and neck. I think maybe Chalet's VRX's like was third ban map, and I think for Champion it's like the fourth most banned map. So fourth most preferred map rather. So it's very close. It's very similar in terms of preference, but it's more the fact of like the utility setups here. I think VRX are bringing a lot more utility to
Firelord, buddy, what are you doing? Come on, that's just not on. That's not on at all. Champion have just kept repeatedly. I think they've found every single opening pick so far this match.
And that's massive, right? Another one there as Peter falls down. Strike going two.
Boy.
Already the cleanup there by Labyrinth. Goodness me, VRX, what are you going to do about that again? No Osa shields left. A window cover is there. Aldini gets tagged up a bit. But this is going to be the real aspect here. VRX, they have to isolate these players. They have to try and take them down. Speaking of being taken down, there we have it. Firelord, another one. And another one bites for dust for VRX. Poor Killer's now left in a 1 versus 5 Blue Panda.
Fun stat there for you. In total, I think a single player from VRX has died inside the building this round. All the rest of them have been outside. And there is every possibility that Killers also meets that same fate. It is not often in the game of Rainbow6 Siege, especially on a map like Chalet, where you see a round like this play out. The fact that no one even got inside is just... Firelord is just ego challenging out on this office balcony.
Well, there we go.
I mean, to be fair, too darn right. Firelord should not have lived.
That's it, right? Ego peaking is just going to allow you to isolate yourself. So I think the rest of VRX need to be sensible here and not run out into it and not these exit frags that could ultimately maybe end up costing them. They run out. There we go.
Or,
as well.
Or, counterpoint, send multiple people out and then you just can't look both ways. Like, that would be... Okay, yeah, he's dead. Never mind. They didn't time it right. If they'd sent someone out the trophy window, then it probably would have worked. Or even out the double window. But they unfortunately have not played it correctly. And they've just given 2 kills that should not have been given over.
Very interesting what Killers tries to do here, because they only have 25 seconds to go. Maybe if they try to contest through trophy and take the fight up solar stairs, but again, very, very difficult. They do have 2 flashes left in pocket.
15
The rest of Champion have decided that they're not going to be silly anymore. They're not going to try and go for these swings. They're not going to try and get this final kill. They're just going to hold these angles on site. They're just going to hold these crossfires. And as a result, you know, that is Champion securing that round. Killers potentially maintaining their KD for now.
I mean, look, there's a difference. If it died, it would have been going from a 3 KD to a 2 KD. That look, numbers at the end of the day. I mean, to be fair, look, I'm a huge advocate of, if you find yourself in a 1vx situation that you know that you are 99% probably going to lose, and in that situation, barring literally all 3 of those players lining up and just giving him the isolated gunfights, I don't think there was a way they're losing it. I'm 100% an advocate for, you know what, go sit in a corner, go sit on the roof, talk to your team. Figure out what the heck you need to do in the next round to bring it back and get yourselves another round on the board. Because, I mean, ultimately, all you're doing in that situation is either padding your ego or damaging your mental. Like, you know you're going to lose. You might get a pick, but you're probably going to die anyway. Why not plan ahead?
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb.
I'm just really, really excited to see how VRX do on their own defense, to be honest. Again, the fact that, yes, it can be a little bit attacker-sided, but I really think VRX, the way that they are bringing a lot more utility than Champion. You know, Champion, they've had this reliance on the Oryx, on the Vigil. They even got the Warden there too. Sometimes having these kind of operator picks on that defense, it's like, yeah, granted you're getting the shield there on the Warden, but consider like things like the Oryx and the Vigil. How much use are you getting out of that utility? Because as soon as that player falls, that's the utility gone, right? So ideally you need something that at least has something remaining, which is why the Warden is probably much preferred. You get a lot more bang for your buck.
Indeed. I mean, it's just the flexibility as well. But bar gaming on the cards once again. I mean, look, ultimately, I have to say, Warden must be one of the most versatile defenders you can have in the game at the moment. One, you had the MP5 or the M590, so you had the option of close range or long range. As a secondary, the SMG12 sort of doubles down when you're running the M590. You can run a shield, you can run a nitro cell, so he really does sort of just cover all bases at the moment. But right now, you can already see VRX are being quite aggressive in towards the library. They've got that vert control and force the defenders off the vert for now. But Champion are not giving it up completely free.
They're not for holding on. Again, I'm really surprised to see that we're not seeing this classic Pixel hold in the corner there. So Logic does get one onto Ziz. Strike falls too. A swift cleanup on that library pressure as kills start to fall through. Killers and Peter fall down as well. So we're only getting a third for the round. And once again, we are left in a 1 versus X with so much time. So much time, Blue Panda.
Yeah, this time you don't go sit on the roof. You need to try and make something happen here, because there's too much time. And the fact that you're giving them a round for free here.
Ooh.
Well, he's gonna found 2. This is doable all of a sudden. Once again, Champion have fallen into that same trap where they've just thrown bodies at the one remaining player, and it has come back to bite them in a pretty severe way. Zashav is going to retreat back down the library stairs, holding between the basement and the first floor. Rams. Okay, now he's sitting. He's waiting for the Hell Cloak to regenerate. You can see, we know Zolotic is up still in library. Rams is looking for the wrap here. If he can find the back of Zashav, isolate it and bring it down to the 1 versus 1 with 50 seconds on the clock race, this is suddenly doable.
This is it, right? Because again, that Nook ability, it's going to allow so much of that sound to be covered. And I don't think Zoshav is aware at all. This could actually be huge. Again, Rams is playing this really safely, really smartly. Oh, they're actually going up the fireplace stairs right now. They're going for a bit more of a bar push. Ironic falls down. And there we have it. Zoshav is able to go for that trade. The repositioning really, really securing them that win there. Goodness me. Imagine if they stayed on the staircase.
I mean, that's it. You nailed it on the head there. If not for the reposition, that likely could have come down to the 1v1 in a far less favourable position. for Champion. And I mean, look, who would have thought coming into the start of this map, despite what VRX did, it was a defender-sided start to Chalet of all maps.
And that can be slightly concerning, but again, VRX, based on how they've been playing that utility game, I think their defensive setups are going to be maybe a little bit smarter than... Not that Champion's defensive setups weren't smart, may I add. It's just, again, yes, they're bringing those ADSs, they're bringing those magnets. They're playing into the fact that those attacking bans really favor you bringing that kind of utility, because now Champion have to go for the burn. There's all this utility protecting those shields. And again, the shields on Chalet especially, that piano control that we're about to see probably come through, that shield will be most likely pumped on top of piano. It is a difficult position. There we go, there's one shield going up on piano. They're difficult positions to get rid of, especially when ADSs will just catch any nades that are going towards it. Even if you get library control, you have that really aggressive angle from Office, you have that setup in piano. It is difficult to contest against.
Well, I mean, the big concern to me is this is really struggling. He's 0-6-1, so in 6 rounds played, he's been involved in 1 kill for his team. But not really the numbers that you're looking for. Yes, it was an attack, and yes, it was very much a Champion half, but Champion now go on to the attack. They look at the setup as well, Grace. A Ying and an Armory, so they are looking again for that full court press. They're looking to be aggressive. They want that control. And unfortunately, the anchor player for your team is this. You want someone who's capable with the SMG-11 and the M590 is struggling to find traction when it comes to outright gunfights.
Precisely. I think it'd be interesting too, given that, you know, they're on the top floor. Oh my god, the planet's going down already. Well, Dini has just got stuck in and no one is contesting it. They're at least trying. There we go, the gunfight going through. Toxic Bay to finish him off. Labyrinth has taken down killers in the process as well. Both teams a significant casualty, but remember that diffuser is now in sight.
Yeah, look, I mean, telegraphing a little bit. Labyrinth will be shut down. Big kill found by Peter from the Solarium stairs. Rams there as well. But the health buzz, Grace, that is the truly tragic situation for VRX. Peter and Rams collectively could die to Far Lord if he manages to thread the needle with a lifeline impact. And, well, there is a possibility. Peter on the Solarium stairs, there's limited utility in this defense. And right now, oh, the pings through. But no, unfortunately, the metal bars, the bane of every single Rainbow Six player's existence means that kill is not going to be successful. Peter, he steps up to the door again. Case of hit. Oh, I'm all for this.
Shotty in hand, waiting like a python in the grass. But there we go. Farlord will just go for the swing. Take strike out. That's at least going to alleviate some of this pressure. But this is what Champion have to do right now. They have to take these gunfights because they don't have that diffuser. The trade comes through. Peter will fall. A 1 versus 1. Rams versus Farlord. Who do you think is going to come out up on top?
Lifeline, surely. Surely send the lifeline. He's going to jump on the drone. No more bullet holes. The Rams can't quite play off of that position. But if you can get the drone deep enough. He has eyes in the diffuser. Oh, does he spot the ankle? Does he spot the ankle? Surely. No, unfortunately, a missed opportunity. And again, a game of headshots. This could be all the difference maker. Rams is just playing off of that shield. This is tense right now. Both players can end this round with a single spray, a single burst of bullets, and Farlord is trying to bait it out with the defuse plant, but he's going to work his way round. He's going to try and wrap on Rams right now. Rams needs it. He's looking the wrong way entirely. Farlord's giving away the game right now. This is time, and there you go! Whack-a-mole whacks back as Rams steps up and finds the head.
I appreciate the ambitious execute, you know, taking that hook, yeeting yourself into sight, trying to get that plant down. They did have the smokes, but again, a lot of pre-fire can happen there from the defense where they can just shut it down. They can just start trying to spray you desperately. Yes, they can't see you, but they can hear that diffuser going down. And again, speaking of the diffuser, that was uncomfortable. As soon as that execute doesn't work, the diffuser is planted in sight. You then have to take those gunfights. You have to try and work out where these players are. It becomes a lot clunkier.
Oh dear. Yeah, look, VRX, I think, just scraping by on that one. Look, to be fair, it was an ambitious play from Champion. They tried to get lucky. Unfortunately, it just didn't happen.
Frostmat's coming out though. Frostmat's on Games Bar is a sight I love to see. Especially, you know, with how they did that last round, they went for the immediate rush. Sometimes when you do have that Games and Bar site, people will go for that immediate rush through the double window. They'll roll some candelas as an example through the drone hole. Unfortunately, on the side of Champion, they are not bringing the Ying out, so I'm assuming that strategy is not going to be utilized. But again, that Brava, how much use are they going to have out of this? They do have the Claymores as well. So maybe if they want to deal with some of this potentiality of a run out, there's at least that.
We saw the successful run out from Champion. I don't know if VRX are going to be that, I want to say ambitious, but I don't think that's quite the play. Reckless, probably more in this situation, would be the right call. But right now, I mean, look, Champion, they know that they should have won that last round. They know mistakes were made, so they're just going to pace it down a little bit. It's not going to be the full court press. They are going to be trying to clear out as much utility as possible. And I mean, look how much they have prioritized clearing out that utility. Not just the Twitch, but the Brava as well.
Yes, that is a nice combination at this point. Again, the Twitch being used to get rid of a lot of the setup. This means that ideally, you want these nades to start ringing through. The flashes on Roldini, the nades in Labyrinth. They just need to get into a position to get the benefit out of it. Here comes one flash to burn the ADS. Here come more. Will they be baited? So look at this beautiful angle they're holding. The nade, there we go. Finally, Zitz is going to fall down.
Clearing out the player top library is huge, but Rams finds a kill back on a Solodic. Player mezzanine has been such a problem in that slanted roof. Usually is a great power position for attacking teams, but for the one, I think, time that I've seen it go the way of the defender. Unfortunately, they can't catch Rams, and they rotate back through Trophy. He's going to find Labyrinth as well. This has been unpunished, so Shav falls. The MK14 Roldini swings heavy, but the pistol out. How his strike won that? Champion had all the tools in their basket. That's all they needed. They had everything in front of them to be able to make that play on a trophy. They just lose their gunfights, and it's down to Farlord in the 1 versus 4. Oh my god, Rams, good night, buddy. Good night strike. It's Farlord out of nowhere, looking for more. Player on the fireplace stairs. He's going to wrap around the fireplace itself. My god, he might just do this here, Grace. 48 seconds, and Peter's coming up library. So Shah will bleed out, so it's the 1 versus 1. Farlord finishes it, but no, again, punished by his greed, wanting to confirm the kill.
Some of these rounds are really starting to come down to the nail. Again, very scrappy on both sides. Nice attempt at utility clears, then the burns. How indeed? Again, though, this is the thing. It's all about who lands on that head quickest, right? Sometimes the gunfight just doesn't work. Maybe you whiff your shots a little bit. They're able to just suddenly pistol whip you. A bit tilting to be on the receiving end.
But it's Roldini playing the Hibana. So that was a Type 89 that was outgunned by a secondary. By a player that you knew was in the corner because he just killed your teammate.
Yeah. Frantic scrabbling, I think, is the way I describe that. Frantic scrabbling. However, you know, we are at 4-4 now. VRX have managed to pull themselves up a little bit. 2 rounds in a row to bring us to this evens playing field. I'm just, again, very curious to see. Okay, more nades hopefully being brought. This is what I like to see. Maldini on the sledge, especially when it's this site, right? You can just try and clear this top floor a lot quicker if you do have some beautiful little cooked nades, a lot of window pressure. They have brought the castle, of course, to deal with the potentiality of that rotate being cut off. So again, from VRX, it's a smart setup here.
Just punching through trophy. It's easy. It's it is one of my favourite plays to see, teams that successfully go for a quick hit onto the kitchen site through trophy. If it's done successfully, it's terrifying, and it is hugely successful. Right now, speaking of success, Farlord is just clearing out these default cameras inside the building, and that is the power of this clutch drone. Being able to turn those assets that should be there readily for a defender against them.
Yeah, exactly. And again,
Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser.
I would say sometimes you can kind of tell where that push is going to come from based on what cameras are taken out, but
Attackers have recovered their defuse.
Because of this as well, like, Sololix is allowed to get pretty much all this breathing room, taking that library control. They have so much pressure that they've already had falling into their willing and open hands here. And that wall probably will get opened very, very quickly by Zoshav.
Indeed. Yeah. With the power of the clutch shoulders, it's not all the same cameras being taken out in the same part of the map, which then sort of telegraphs the play and the intention of an attacking team. But right now, explosions galore. Rams is going to go hard and aggressive, but Zolotix covering. That's why you have the setup. That's why you have the cover. That's why you protect your teammates. You're not just sitting off hunting for kills on your own. You need to be covering those bases. Even on attack, you need to make sure that that pressure is covered, because what's the point of opening something up like Sashab? What's the point of opening up Office only to get fragged out and then miss out on the opportunity to open things up in the kitchen?
Absolutely. Nadering out just to maybe clear the wall here. Imagine that breach is going to come through thick and fast now. Be interesting to see if Ziz tries to go for a rotate here. Farlord though taking out Strike. The breathing room being created here for Champion to sell up now. The smoke's going out. Maybe baiting a few C4s. Actually, Peter still has his in pocket. But down on Tradini as well. But they're taken out by Labyrinth. Good stuff. That's that C4 gone. Just go for the collapse. Get that diffuser down. It's only Ziz now left in a 1 versus 4. They're going to try and cling on for dear life here. But again, no throwables in hand. Ooh! Good clutches out. Actually, the plant is going to be stuck. Zerolic, you are holding this angle. But where are you? Ziz is trying to find it. And there we have it. Zoshav can just stand up with a little flick of the wrist.
He thought he was going to find some success, and as soon as he realised that everything was hitting against him, he was like, "Nah, that's my kill. I'm making sure that ends up on my stats for the end of the game," because he knew, like, as soon as he missed the opportunity onto Soldic, that was over. They just had the numbers, they had the positioning, they were going to turn it on him. So he's like, yeah, cool. I'll finish off Farlord. I'll get my numbers. He absolutely slammed Labyrinth, to be fair. That was a phenomenal shot. But yeah, no, unfortunately, not an ideal situation to be in. Yeah, the turn 180, boom, done, shut down. And look, Champion, the attack, when it comes here, when it looks clean, it is a hard thing to defend against.
Champion edging closer towards match point now. I really love the fact that, Champion have started to work more around those nades. Also, we have seen some beautiful little clip nades coming through from them. But even also being mindful of, okay, maybe we'll have one of these VRX players lurking in a little ratty corner. They'll get droned out. That push will come through. They're taken care of. Again, whittling down the defenders.
Attackers are moving out to locate
Well,
the bomb and defuse.
Champion in prime position. They want that match point. They want this to be over, I think, more than anything. They want to close this map out successfully. The last thing they want is a drawn-out overtime matchup against VRX. Strike down in the basement. Goes with the attempt of his own through the soft garage door. Nothing found, no traction, but information, I suppose, if nothing else. He's just going to work his way back into bar and gaming, though. So VRX, they are trying to dissuade Champion more than anything, if they can. Hold on, wait. What's that position that Peter's holding? That's not a setup I've seen before.
It's interesting. That certainly is one way to put it. Again, maybe just they are expecting this library pressure. We've got Rams lurking already. Again, there's always the potential of being caught slightly off guard if someone does push towards the stairs. Let's see how that goes. Oh, Strike taken clean out. No immediate trade to come through from the side of VRX either. Blue Panda, I think that's something that's concerning me slightly, actually, is the trades just really are starting to fall away from VRX.
Well, that's the thing. I can't remember the last time they found an open pick. And I can't remember the last time they were able to successfully trade an open pick.
Yeah.
That has been few and far between. Not soon enough, unfortunately, and Rams is going to be traded out almost immediately. Much sooner than... hey, that was a magnificent shot, too, from Sashav. And, look, it feels like everything that VRX are trying to do here on this defense is countered almost immediately. The setup from Peter had to be pulled back because they lost 2 key players in that defense. It wasn't just a one-man effort. he needed support in that position. They pulled off it already. Oh my god, so sharp. That was feral. That was feral. I'm sorry.
It is disgusting. It is gross. Like, again, ooh, that's also gross. Farlord, beautiful swing on the corner. Killers gets taken out. Zis does go a bit aggressive here, though, to take Farlord off that angle. But there we have it, Labyrinth to clean things up. And that indeed is match point.
That was, again, Champion have just hit another level. They've slowly warmed their way up in through this matchup on Chalet. I mean, that was feral. That was absolutely... He's like, yeah, look, someone traditionally holds piano. I'll send some shots downrange. Poor Peter had no idea what was coming his way. And then Farlord absolutely smokes Killers. Will be traded out. And it was just a succession. You look at how many players are alive. You look at the utility that was still remaining there for Champion. They pushed an advantage. They got an early pick. It wasn't traded. By the time they actually got an answer back to bring it to 4-4, there was another player there, Zashav, to shut it down. Zashav had a phenomenal round there in the night. And, well, we do finally get it, Grace. There you go.
Basement hole coming through. Again, I'm really curious to see how his setup will be. The extension into Wine is the main one here. Again, that wall, as I touched on before, Garage gets open so quickly. That your focus really has to be on, okay, how are we going to cut off this second dimension that Champion are now going to probably take? Because we basically have to give Garage up from the get-go. Granted, maybe Killers will go for a little bit of the classic bandit trick. But again, difficult sometimes when you do have nades on the board.
There's nowhere my Jaeger, so... yeah, look, if he respect. But that is a true clincher moment because there is zero protection for Killers right now.
Exactly.
Unless Peter goes for the Kiba barricade over the drone hole. Which, possible, I suppose.
You'd hope that would be happening. There we go. Yes, indeed it is.
Hey!
Way. Labyrinth, though. Rams will fall. VRX taken away. Again, no utility left for VRX to have here. Granted, they might have those prox mines somewhere, but how much use will that give them, really?
Well, Zist is dead as well. Strike living, well, actually, yeah, Strike living the reality that, well, we forgot to bring Frost, so I'll be a Frost mat instead. It's in line with being a trap operator, but he's so far disjointed for the two remaining players on his team. He's going to go for a run up on the second floor, but you can see no one from Champion, I suppose I say, was nearby. Solotic is below him. But Strike is playing this incredibly passively. He's not going to be able to find that pick, I don't think, unless Zolotic... And yet, Zolotic's just going to pass him. He's just going to carry on in towards Bar. And that pick opportunity was going to be huge. So Zolotic's given away the game. He's throwing the... Oh, this is just chaos, guys. This is absolute insanity.
Taking out Farlord. Zoshav gets tagged up significantly again. This is where these drones need to start coming through from Champion. Don't get ahead of yourselves. Don't lose these needless lives. Work out the positionings of these players who you've essentially forced into a very uncomfortable position. You have so much breathing room right now. The plant could go down, but I don't think they have diffuser. No, they don't. Killers taking out Kolotic as well. Leverov gets tagged, eventually down as Roldini takes on Strike. But this is so uncomfortable. A 1 versus 2, essentially, Blue Panda.
This should have been a Champion round. I'm sorry. This should have been a Champion round. They had everything in place. Strike was so far disjointed from the rest of the team, and it's not. VRX make the basement defense work. When in all reality, they shouldn't have been. I mean, you had a bandit actively tricking with no Wemmeyer Jaeger cover. They had a Kiba barricade over the drone hole while also having an Ash still in the field. Like in all reality, that garage wall should have been blown wide open. Entirely uncontested. But no. Respect. Again, Champion commit to the play. They do. They 100% commit to the play. Unfortunately, it does not work.
I think that's the issue, like committing to that push that you're already making when you don't have the information to do so. There's a lot of times where teams do this, where they don't have that second to be like, okay, pause, let's take a breather, get that information under their belt. They had a lot of time to work with, but because they kind of then frantically tried to get these entry points into the site itself, they then started losing those bodies. It becomes very, very uncomfortable at that point to try and make a play, especially when, you know, Wine with the shield setups, it's a difficult thing to go against when you don't really have the util behind you, or you are in a 1vx, because there's so many tiny, tiny little pixel angles that can be held against you, and it's pretty much impossible to try and push against that, especially if you don't have that information.
Indeed. I mean, the fact that you look at how much damage, how much work Rams has done right now to keep his team in this. He's 12-10. Having killers have been putting up big numbers. This has really just been quite quiet, which is a bit unfortunate. But I mean, you look at the other side of that equation. Zashav much in the same position. You see Labyrinth and Farlord doing a lot of the legwork for this champion team. But very next, I mean, backs against the wall. They're either losing this map right here. We go into overtime once again, Grace. Back-to-back regulation maps. And off a round like that, very next might have just given themselves the momentum to push for overtime.
We'll see. I mean, I think it would be nice to see overtime between these two. I think for Champion, I think maybe they're feeling a bit disappointed again. Remember how well they've done in the season. They've been the ones to get a lot of those rounds on the belt even when they've lost. So I think the main thing here is maybe they're kicking themselves a little bit for letting it become so close. For VRX, they've certainly been scrappy here, and they've been able to secure themselves more rounds on the belt by, you know, capitalizing on Champion's mistakes multiple times. For now, again, they really need to get this information. So there are drones out. Their drone eco is a little bit better this time, but half the round is nearly gone. They need to start getting a bit more traction.
Two players down in the basement for VRX, playing for that late round lurk. I mean, time and time again on the champion attack, they've been able to deal with these deep presences down in the basement. But no one there to meet them this time around. It looks like champion are just circumventing the roamers and prioritizing heavily on the site. I mean, to be fair, it is a 5 versus 3 mismatch on the site right now, Grace, which, to be fair, if you're champion, if you can identify that, you should be absolutely twisting the knife if possible.
Yeah, if you just go for it, you'll certainly catch them a little bit off guard. But again, they're not. It's this quiet moments. It's this patience, which, yes, granted, it can work. It can allow you to create a more structured setup. But sometimes you just need to take advantage of the fact that you do have that man count. At the same time, they still need to burn out the utility in Piano. And here we go, the nade comes through from below. The experiment charge can open up that office wall, and that's going to give such a long line of sight now. Especially now Zoshav, once again, going for that wall bang. Doesn't quite capitalize it off it this time. Toxic Babe will go out, but they're not going to be too bothered about that. Again, loads of time to work with. Killers taking out Farlord, though. No more global utility on that Lion.
Peter again forces a shove at the long angle towards Piano. Strike down the base. Where has he found Labyrinth from? Absolutely no way that kill should have been given over to VRX, and they've got the player advantage now. Killers rotated back up. Roldini with the Claymore is going to shut down Zist, and that is your smoke. That is a huge pick, especially at this stage in the round. The Sharp going for the plant. The coverage is there, but the Nitro Cell from Strike below. How? How has VRX turned this round on its head and pushed to overtime? They are playing out of their minds here in the second half.
It's not over till the fat lady sings, and I don't see any fat ladies. I love it for VRX right now. They have pulled it to overtime. Again, just being patient. Champion weren't burning out the utility on that second dimension through Piano. They didn't even have window pressure if you're going to try and avoid Piano. So when they were trying to collapse, again, the players below, there was a C4 below. It can just be used. A tale as old as time, you know, these little setups that happen, you need to clear them. You need to get rid of that utility. Champion getting ahead of themselves a little bit here, to be honest, Blue Panda.
And so, what we see is 2-4-2 defensive halves on Shallow. And the big concern already is that VRX have 2 defensive rounds to work with in overtime, and they're going to start off in the basement where they did find some success. Once again, though, it is a slightly different approach. No bandits, no bandit tricking. A Vulcan canister dead center of both of those reinforcements. Not dead center on the wine wall, but either way, those are going to be popped when the exothermic goes off.
5 seconds left.
It's gonna be a nice one, I think. Especially if they start to apply that pressure that they did last time, but they actually use their util. That's the main concern for Champion right now. What do you have in pocket? How can you utilize that? Again, the Lion being brought out I really do like, but ideally those EMPs need to be safe to clear out the utility towards Wine.
Right now, they get up around this snowmobile push, and they are going to be able to punch at the cube. Okay, they're always going to be able to punch that out. But information is the big concern here. Again, multiple players, multiple entities on the defense are off-site at the moment. There is an opportunity for a smoke plant. They could have smoke planted right now once that Vulcan canister dissipated, because there is no one in position to actually contest it if they've got someone watching.
There we have it. Follow being taken out, so no more EMPs. Very dangerous stuff indeed for Champion. Especially if they start to get this second entry point under their belt. Sometimes it's difficult too, right? You know, even if you get that garage wall open, the defense don't know at this point if you're still there. So that's always a threat, right? That's always a threat, that line of sight going all the way through garage. You can then just rotate and they won't know anything the wiser.
I don't know, like, it just feels frustrating. Champion have all the tools at their disposal to make a play work. They then decide to pivot. I mean, it was highlighted by the desk. Killers is definitely one of those players that will be hugely impactful, and he has been. I mean, he's 13-7 currently. He's absolutely doing bits for the team. Right now you can see all sorts of utility going up in flames, exploding, being cleared out by Champion. But again, they're a player down. They've lost one of the key impact operators here in this round. The Lion could have it blown this wide open, and they've lost a Sharp as well. It's all coming apart. VRX might be on the cards for the reverse sweep, starting off the map down 2-4.
There goes another one. Another one bites for dust. Labyrinth and Serolotic. It's all left down to you. Can they find a way in? There is 2 nades still in the pocket of Labyrinth, but they're going to decide to take this gunfight instead. A little bit risky. And again, the diffuser, they do have line of sight onto it, but they need to pick it up. This fire is everywhere. Those Vulcans so impactful. This is exactly what we talk about when it comes to these final attempts around the bomb site. The Vulcans can just really put a spanner in the works.
Zolotic's going to find yet another 2 versus 3. Yeah, no, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. And Grace with that. VRX are sitting on match point here in overtime. It's not going to be full points, but I don't think that really matters. This is more a moral victory.
Bragging rights.
Yeah,
bragging rights.
It's literally the story of the last 18 months. VRX consistently being beaten and bullied around by Champion. Now they're getting some revenge.
Again, really love that Champion are bringing the Soulless out. Bit of intel denial, lots of utility denial as well, especially in terms of those drones. Maybe Champion will play this a little bit safer as well. You know, you've got the smoke, you've got the Soulless. If you start losing those players, maybe you just rotate below and try and play to deny that plant. Again, the main crux there is that they really need Firelord to waste a bit more time on this roam.
Oh dear.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I don't know what to make of this anymore, Grace. Everyone sort of said, you look Champion, superior team. VRX has done some work. Oh boy.
10 seconds
Oh
left.
boy, oh boy. If this goes the way that all indicators are pointing, this 100% could be a VRX win.
Moving to defuse a bomb.
100%. If they pull this off, Champion, there's no way they can deal with this.
I mean, the Glazian combo. An oldie but a goldie. It's a little bit... Every time I see that combo being brought, I'm like, this is... I can taste the nostalgia in the air. I can taste it. Again, the smoke utility, the yings, how disgusting Glaz can be. To really catch you off guard, I imagine that is going to be the window pressure. Given the positioning of the player right now, I imagine Killers will be doing that.
I have to say, Grace, though, I know old mate Cthulhu is definitely sweating at the moment. But 20k channel points down on Champion to win this. And
Oh, really?
he may have just lost it all. You don't bet against the house because the house always wins. And right now, Champion are about to lose theirs to boot. Oh my god, VRX is just making quick work of this. They're being hyper aggressive. Firelord, though, again, finds it. Oh, okay, found the opening pick on the glass. That is kind of the linchpin of this whole strat.
It really is. There's always the potential of those Candelas combined with that hook of Strike to actually cause a little bit of a ruckus. But Farlord, another one there to Strike. So again, every single piece of this utility being taken away. The trades come through by Varian Expo. A 2 versus 3 now. Peter and Zit, still a fair bit of utility to work with. 1 Selma and 2 Candelas. But will it be enough? Especially when the Solus is there. Especially when the smoke is there. Champion potentially could make this neck and neck right now. They have everything they need to secure this win.
Yeah. The wild thing is, this could come down to VRX's defense, which has been the more successful of the two, to determine the victor of this map. Labyrinth is going to try just walk his way up. Knows full well there's probably someone on the rappel. Roldini there as well. They can dual swing Peter right now. They might overwhelm the Candela. Primed and ready for Zest. He's going to toss it deep into the bedroom. Throws the smoke to cover as well from Piano. Can they get themselves in? Roldini cut off on that angle. So is Solotic. With 50 seconds remaining, it really seems like they're not going to do a heck of a lot with it. Another Candela to follow. Solotic wrapping around. Has the opening, finds the back. Zest Roldini onto Peter as well. And there you go, Grace. Full rounds. 15 on the card. We go to max OT.
That initial pick onto Glaz, we both had the same reaction. Of course, again, that was the linchpin. If you're bringing that kind of setup, you're bringing the Ying, you're bringing the Glaz, you've even got that hook on the Amaru as well. Difficult to try and come back from that as those players start to fall. No utility to actually commit to the execute that you planned. The shot calling has to go in. At that point, you're like, okay, we need to go a bit more direct. We need to get these smokes down, roll out these Candelas. I'm surprised they didn't try and stick the plant sooner. I think maybe playing for the post plant would have been the best bet there. I think by going in deeper, they kind of allowed themselves to be more exposed there, and Champion were able to have those crossfires and collect those kills.
Oh boy. Well, Grace, the card's very much stacked against Champion here in the final round. VRX and Champion. Absolutely phenomenal on the defense. Their attack, the only way to describe, I think, is lackluster, in all honesty. On a map like Chalet, this should not be the norm. It should very much be attacker-sided. But look at it. All of a sudden, the VRX numbers are looking very good. Strike, Peter, Rams, and Killers, all on double digits. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, they have hit their mark.
Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb and
Which is just, again, so gross. I think gross has been the main thing for this entire of nasty shots on both sides. But also impactful shots. You know, I did touch on the fact of the main thing for the Champion is that, you know, Farlord has to shut down from the get-go. Some of these, you know, roams haven't really been going in his favor. But then it was like the wind came under his sails. He started collecting those picks again. And that's really, really enabled them to turn the rounds on its head.
Well. I did not think we'd end up here, Chris. I did not at all for a moment imagine that we'd end up double OT. Between Champion and VRX, with Champion looking like the team that might just bow out here. VRX, I mean, they're quite happy. They've got that 6th defender. They can just sit, play the clock, and Killers again downstairs. They've sent Farlord deep in the basement room, knowing full well that there has been a priority around lurkers for VRX. But this time, we're not seeing the deep basement dwellers that we did in rounds past.
The concern here for me is the fact that we've got Labyrinth and Farlord very isolated. If VRX did have a roam presence and they were caught off guard, again, there will be no trades to come through from Champion because they're so spread out. They're so spaced out from one another. We now even have, you know, granted, Baldini is there with Zeralocked, but over there we have it actually. Farlord is going to get that opening pick onto Rams. So that's the Whammy Magnets, at least delayed for now. No more regeneration of that utility.
We'll see. Another opening pick, but it hasn't always guaranteed a round victory for Champion. As they gear themselves up to hold Killers. Again, Killers in this position has been so lethal on the defense, especially with the Aruni. And right now, might just meet Farlord in an enclosed hallway. Labyrinth, if he can find the info, that's huge. The Gemini will give away the positioning, so he's going to back himself off. Just play a little bit of retreat. He can find the pick. Still he does. Finds the hit of one. And all of a sudden, Labyrinth is scared. He doesn't want a bar of this.
So probably looked like they were going for a duo play there, but Labyrinth just stopped behind them. not ideal. Again, that trade isn't going to come through, and Killer's can escape absolutely scot-free. They have the breach open now. It's just a case of using some of this util to maybe displace some of these players. Again, a nice nade towards Peter could be an ideal place to start.
No, there's no way. There's no way that Champion can pull this one back. VRX have pulled off the heist of the league. Killers for a third. VRX are about to walk away with the victory, and Zist closes it out. VRX, all the way to double overtime, have finally beaten Champion. After 12 months of struggle and strife against a team which everyone considered their betters, they've taken them down.
We love an underdog story, we truly do. Again though, Champion, your heart's got to break for them a little bit. They had a really good run of the season. Again, maybe this is more the map veto going in the favor of VRX on the day.
It was all here. This is what ultimately led to the downfall of Champion. Killers. And it was talked about on the desk. And it seems justifiable as to why, Grace.